Hello everyone, welcome to today's interactive session with Essentially Sports. Today we are privileged to be joined by the CEO of LZ Promotions, Mr. Parm Goraya, and Tenzin Pema, a wushu player, a martial artist who also happens to be a professional boxer now. Thank you so much for joining with us, ma'am. And obviously, you're going to make a solid transition in the coming future. You're going to be a part of the WBC India Championship. So, how does it feel being a part of an event with this great magnitude?
Thank you, first of all, Raj. Yeah, I'm feeling very lucky, and it's very good opportunity to dealing with such a good promoter like Mr. Paramji and WBC India Championship. Right? It's for me, it's very big things, and feeling very excited. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a very big thing, and as we all know that it's going to be global in the coming days. It's going to be global. A lot of people are going to watch it. So, what's your take on that? I mean, considering that you are going to be a part of this global spectrum, how is it going to change the Indian boxing for all the good reasons? How do you see?
I see very soon I think many people will going to get chance to play or perform the good level like a WBC India and first time in India, right? Mr. Param is launching, right? He's doing very good job, and he's giving such a good golden opportunity to all our fighters, and I think this is a very good things, whoever they even some players are they didn't get any good opportunities, right? If they have a talent and all these things, they can fight in WBC India Championship and all these things. They can contact with Mr. Paramjit, right? So they can make they are on dreams comes true, and this platform, it is a very good uh, good things, to you can yeah, you can represent in the national level and international level, for your our nations, right?
Yes.
So this is a very big things and big promotion for fighters. Yeah.
Considering that you already had an experience in MMA and Wushu, like you were already successful over there, what made you feel that you should like turn yourself inside the boxing ring, and how did this thing come up to you?
Actually, boxing is my first choice, when I was very child. And that time I was just watching the Mohammad videos in the hostel TV rooms, then that time I would just realize, there's just faking in all these things, they're punching and they're hitting, right? And suddenly later I was just thinking like, okay, this is a quite interesting game, right? So I was fighting with the boys in hostels, the punching, but I don't know how to punch, but still I was punching, because I was so excited about the learning that same thing, same games, then I decided, I want to become a boxer, for my country, right? So I started, yeah.
My question would be to Mr. Param, like you have already worked with so many elite boxers at a professional scale. When you first saw Tenzin fight, what did you realize and how did she grab your attention?
Well, I mean, I first came across Tenzin at an event end of January in Delhi, and I saw her in a 4-round fight, and she gave a good account. As you say, she's in fact she's done tremendously well to get where she is today, despite her only fighting for Tenzin. What is it? Maybe 6-7 years, something like this,
Yes.
right? So she's done tremendous, and I just saw somebody that was keen. She's driven. She didn't stop for a moment. She gave it 100% in the 4 rounds. She didn't come away with a win, but what I felt watching it as a promoter, as a spectator, was that I didn't feel that Tenzin lost. So that was really my first opportunity to really see Tenzin, and then she trains at occasionally trains at Super Fight League gym in Malviya Nagar, Delhi. So as you know, I was formerly part of Super Boxing League, Super Fight League, and I went down there to see Navi, who trains a lot of fighters, and he's got amazing, like a lot of Afghani fighters, refugee fighters, who are naturally born to fight, right? Like they say about the Northeast. So and Tenzin was there again. So it just seemed to be a bit of fate that I would see her like after a few months, Navi then put her name forward, and I had no hesitation to say, okay, let's do it. And luckily at the same time, her opponent, who Pooja Tokas, who actually happens to be Pawan Gohat's wife, Pawan contacted me and said, look, you know, is there potential for Pooja to fight on your event? So just seemed to be an event. Just happened. Yeah, it just happened to make itself. You know, I saw Tenzin, and a day or 2 days later, Pawan called me. So I said, yeah, let's do it.
So it was like a perfect matchup that happened. Like, obviously, it's great to know. And what was your reaction, Tenzin, when you first got to know that you will be fighting Pooja Tokas? And how did you envision the fight going when you both collide inside the ring?
First time I was so surprised, I know her name, Pooja Tokas, then suddenly my coach, my gym trainer, he said to me, that Mrs. Goyal want to fight with you. I said, who's Mrs. Goyal? I don't know. I never heard her name, can you send me her something story and all these things? And he said, no, she's a Pooja Goyal. I said, Pooja Goyal, I don't know Pooja Goyal, who's this? And later, he sent me, she's name is Pooja Tokas. And I said, oh, okay, I know her. She's a very good player, and she's a very old and senior player, right? And she have a very good experience, And that time I said, like, if I have a 2 months or 3 months to train myself, then I can fight with her. Otherwise, I have to see myself, because I was not ready in that time, And he said, like, yeah, you have a 2 months, yeah. So I said, okay, fine, I have no problem. I can fight with her.
Like, this event is going to be a great example for female boxing in India. Obviously, we will get to see two females, Chandni Mehra and Suman Kumari, fight for the WBC title, and then you get to see another star-packed fight in you versus Miss Tokas. So, do you feel that it's going to bring a new wave in female boxing? And how do you see it? Like, how is it going to inspire the young women who aspire to become a boxer in India, but somehow they have to drop down the dreams due to certain circumstances? So, how do you see it?
Yeah, first of all, I like to say congratulations, Chandini Mehra and the other opponent.
Suman Kumari.
Suman Kumari.
Her name is Suman. Yeah, Suman Kumari. Very, very congratulations, and you guys are very good fighter, and I hope you will be also doing for in future also good things, right? And yeah, boxing in this in the future, it will going to very big things, and big things will be changed according of not even only for women's and men's also, right? Both of male and female, good opportunities. And first of all, this event I will like to say is a big changes is because Mrs. Pooja Tokas, she's a married, and she have also one child, right? So this is a very big example for girls, So yeah, this is a very big thing and big changes for Mr.
Obviously, it's a big change for the entire sport actually. Like for
entire
Indian boxing.
Sports, yeah.
For the Indian boxing, it's going to bring a lot of eyes to Indian boxing, and you're going to be a part of it, obviously. So, does that put some added pressure on you, or does it excite you to be fighting at such big scale?
I think I don't have any pressure. I always keep my mind relaxed and just focusing for training, and just focusing for trying my best. And yeah, many people, they're expecting, okay, this both that ladies are going to fight. They are also very excited, because she's a very old player and experienced player, right? So I came from martial art, so it's a little bit different things, and people are very excited, and everyone's to see that fight, yeah.
So how do you see the fight going? Like, do you envision her coming aggressively from the very beginning, or do you expect her to be composed and like hit you and take the fight to the distance? How do you see the fight playing out?
I think for my point of view, is I think boxing fight is totally with a mind game, and technically and point system, right? It depends on player, how they play, yeah. it's aggressive thing is, when you feel fight with aggressive, and you will lose everything, your temper and your focus, everything is lose. So yeah, I will be play for like slow and technically, yeah.
So obviously you do have a lot of experience and you do have a lot of respect for your opponent, Pooja Tokas. That's really great to see. But at some point, do you want to infuse some sort of bad blood, just to intensify the fight, or do you want to trash talk, anything like that? Obviously, it's great that you have got this respect, but we often see this trash talking and this bad blood brings a lot of attention. So if you someday come up opposite Pooja Tokas, which obviously is going to happen inside the ring. But before that, do you want to get into a verbal feud with her?
No, I don't have any special things like that. I always prepare, to good things, and see always opponent respect, and see the people are, the watching excitement is like when people are, hitting each other, and the coming out blood and coming out, and then people are very excited, and oh wow, wow, like that things, it depends on, how we play. If we play very aggressive and losing our short temper and everything, maybe that time blood will come and people will watching more excited. Yeah.
So going back to Mr. Param, like you obviously have a
Mm.
lot of experience in working in the USA, in the UK, and you have been through so many elite fighters, so many elite promotion. And when you first like chalked up this plan, came down to India to unveil this WBC India Championship event, what are the prominent changes that
Mhm.
you experienced in both the different domains in India or UK or USA? I mean, what were the prominent differences that you could look at?
I mean, look, it's very hard to compare the UK and the US to India, not just from a sporting background, but culturally as well. It's very, very different. Uh, what we all know is cricket seems to be the main sport. Cricketers get worshipped like gods. But
People worship
I come from,
cricketers in India.
yeah, absolutely, or Bollywood.
Yeah,
And I come from a background where I've been a boxing fan all my life. I've done a bit myself. I love sparring, as you know, and I have the utmost respect for Tenzin and any other fighter, especially at professional level or any level, because what they do, getting into the ring, effectively, they're going in there, and we all pray that they go in safely and come back out safely. But it's not a sure thing, right? Because one punch can change the whole thing, dynamics. See, I can't really put one thing on it, my finger on it. All I can say is what I've been very fortunate and privileged to know and learn and have great mentors in the UK and the US, and relationships. You can't do things in boxing unless you have great relationships with people. And fortunately for me, coming to India, first and foremost, my relationships are always number one. And coming to India, I've been very fortunate that all these people around the world who are in the sport industry, peers, colleagues, they have continued to support me. Even though I'm in India for 16 months, we've seen a global pandemic, we've seen a second wave in India. These guys have stuck by me all the way through. And yeah, I mean, look, I don't really want to sort of say, yeah, I've done this, I've done that. I'm just very fortunate that I'm still a little boy at heart who loves the sport and loves the WBC. But I also want to say that, we are here to work with the other three major organizations as well, the WBA, IBF, WBO, and these guys like Tenzin and all the other guys, they're going to go into these fights, 50-50 fights. What happens in the ring is down to them. Whoever wins and loses is down to them. But what I can promise them is I'll be working 24/7 to get them the best platforms and the best opportunities. And if Tenzin happens to, she's okay, I don't even look at it as a loss, but say a year from now, she has 4 wins under her belt. There's no reason why Tenzin can't fight for a belt as well.
Tenzin, coming back to you, you have already had a glittery journey in your career, and you have already begun it on a high rise. Now, when you look at the ongoing boxing world, celebrity boxing or YouTube boxing has recently taken a toll, and I just can't help but ask you two guys about this. What's your take on this, Param? I would go with you first since you're a promoter. Like, do you support YouTube boxing, or do you think it's putting a dent on the actual professional fighter's career?
Well, I mean, the only YouTube boxing I know is what the guy's done a few years ago, right? It was
Logan Paul
Logan
versus
Paul and KSI. So that's and they were an even match, and they had 2 fights, right?
Yeah.
But what I know the guys who trained them, and they put in a lot of hard work. And look, effectively, you could say it's the equivalent of what we call out in the UK and US white collar boxing. You know, these guys have, you know, put in whatever 6, 8 week, 10-week training camps. They've busted their balls to get them into great shape. You know, I know we got the recent example, which you're probably going to ask me about, is Floyd Mayweather versus his brother Jake Paul. Look, you know, I haven't really looked into it too much. I'm still trying to figure out how this 30 pounds differential is going to work. I don't know what it is in kilograms, so you're going to have to excuse me. But you've got, I think roughly you've got Floyd, who's probably around 64 kilos, and the other guy's about 85.
Yeah, absolutely.
80, 85 kilos. It's an absolute mismatch. But look, I don't think there's any secret. Those guys are going to say we're making a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's bringing eyeballs. It's bringing eyeballs to the sport. So fair play to them.
Tenzin, what's your take on this? Like, would you ever step inside the ring against a YouTuber or a celebrity, considering that you already know the dangers of boxing? Like, when someone enters the ring, they put their life at stake, and one punch can shatter all the odds. So, would you be willing to fight a YouTuber or a celebrity for a lot of money, if we be precise, or for a lot of attention? Are you up for doing it?
I think you know, as a player, we are fighting for our nation, right? So we always perform for nations, right? So first we think about our nations, and later we think about, you know, money, and people are, you know, they're doing a celebrity type, they're treating celebrity, you know. I think I go with Mr. Param.
Absolutely.
But you know, Raj, you know what's quite telling, which is very, very nice of what Tenzin said. She said, you know, we think of our nation first. But I'm, you know, I don't want to be controversial here, but it would be nice if the nation, let's say India, they thought of their athletes as well, because you have great athletes and boxers and MMA fighters, mixed martial arts like Tenzin, and they are every day struggling to get recognition. And in the space of, you know, you have cricket, we all know cricket exists and it's the biggest sport, but you know, there's so many other sports in India, and we really need everybody collectively to come together and to help support them. I'm doing my job, you're doing your job, Tenzin's doing the hardest job. Her and all the other boxers who climb through the ring, they climb through the octagon, they are putting the ultimate sacrifice there. So people really need to support these guys. And Tenzin, it's a great point you made about supporting your nation, but your nation needs to support you too.
Absolutely. Now, coming back to Tenzin, obviously you just said a great remark, and I feel that every boxer should look up to it. Where do you get this fighting instinct from? Because we all know that you had a tough childhood. You have been fighting not just inside the ring, but outside the ring too, throughout your life. And just at a young age, you have already seen a lot of success, a lot of dark days too, and you kind of have experienced it all. And while there's so much way left in your career, so can you please look up on your childhood and how did it shape up you?
Yeah, my childhood is very interesting, you know. It's like many kids are, you know, they have own parents, they have supporters, you know, they have families and siblings, you know, they always support. If you don't have money, if you don't have any, if you don't want to educate, you know, they always support you, right? But in my case, there's nobody in my life, you know. When I was very young, you know, 7 years, you know, my father died, you know, when I was in 3, and my mother, she died, you know, and later, you know, I grown up with my grandma, and she also died when I was in 8 years and something like, then I left my hometown and went for a hostel, then again struggling for my life, for saving things, what I should be do for in the future for my life, because nobody's there. So I have to feed myself. I have to think about my things, but always in my mind, I want to become a boxer, that things are always in my mind, Then I decided, okay, first I can do for my education and all these things. I can focus those things on later, When you have visions and dreams in your heart and your mind, and all your bodies, you can make your dreams any age, like 20, 90, and any of age, So I decided to education and all this. Since when I was in doing for learning for schools and on the staying for hostel, it's very tough time. Slowly everything is changed. Nobody is supporting me, and people are always pulling down. She don't have anyone, and she's like she's orphan and all these things. Nobody want to speak with me because I don't have a money and I don't have a good clothes to wear, So it's like that things. And I started to earn money, I was working with some people at home, like the small babies are caring and all these things. I was just doing for a part-time job, because of my study, schools, fees, and my books, like these things, slowly I done my study and everything, and then again I started to learning something new things, like media, and I learned BA journalism or photography from Chandigarh University, I started and all these things, and then slowly I earned some money, and then I said like, okay, now I have to do for my dreams, something different, So I was working in the newspaper and a long time back in Dharamshala. Then at the dead time, I have got a little bit of money, So I came back in Delhi and I start to learning to training and how to make it myself improve. But it's quite very tough, very tough, because if you learn from your childhood, and everything's very easy. You are already teenage and you're already half of mature, So it's quite very tough for me. And but I never give up, I said like, okay, I want to do for my nations, I want to do for my country people, because not only for India, for my country people, Tibetans, 8.7 millions peoples are, they're hoping on me, okay, she will going to change one day and one things, something unique, because I'm a first Tibetan female fighter in the world, as guys, Tibetan people they can't fight, they always are praying, meditate, as a His Holiness Dalai Lama, he always said like, don't harm anyone, don't hurt anything.
Absolutely.
When I learning and the training and all these things, and I fight first time in Delhi, and that time, it was very difficult. I punched that girl and she punched me so many times, kicked me and she so many times. And I was always realizing, okay, His Holiness Dalai Lama said, don't hurt anyone, okay? When I punched and she got like broom, in face, and I said, no, I can't do it, I can't do it, I give up that time, and I lose that match many times, and slowly, and I realized, if I want to do these things in again, I have to keep my things, and my mm, and then I stopped listening His Holiness teachings, because I want to be boxer, I want to be a fighter, and one day, then I stopped listening, all these things. Yes, I respect him a lot, but this time I was not listening like a vision, like a peace of mind, you can't hurt anyone, and all these things. And then I suddenly stop, and it's everything. I just focus for my nations and my country people and my India, and for upcoming generation of men and women, boys or girls, anyone, I want to be example for them, So if you want to really want to do something without any giving up, so I think so that's why I always try my best to, I can make always proud my nation to India and my Tibet, right? So I was doing very hard work, and then suddenly everything isn't happen in India, right? So nothing is possible, nothing is easy,
No.
If you want to really want to do something, you want to be achieved, whenever you are win, then
No.
again you lost, and you can't complain to anyone, okay, I lost, why I lost, you can't be questions to people, why. If we are questioning to people, I am already winner, then why I lose,
Yeah.
then suddenly people said, okay, you are lose, that's why you are just giving us excuses, you didn't did and all these things. This is all about excuses. And many times, I face this, many times in the partialities, the people are don't like me because I am like I'm from Northeast, I'm Tibetan, and yeah, I've been very hard my life, everyone, So I work again, and I earn some money because that time I was just finished my saving and all these things, and I was stopping for my training and all these things. Then I did work again for 2 years in Delhi. Then I earned some money. Then again I started the training, and today I'm here. Yeah.
So you've really come a long way from that point. Like that young kid is now going to be a part of WBC India Championship. It's going to set an example for all the youngsters who dream or aspire to become boxers or fighters in the coming days. So, who are the boxers that you really like from this generation, Tenzin, if you can say?
Anthony Joshua. I'm very inspired with him because I read about his article, and I read about his stories, and I also watched his video of story of his life, and I was very inspired. I'm not saying like he's an Olympian, he's a great boxer and all these things. I'm not saying like that. As a person, he's also very calm and nice and very down to earth, That's why I very much inspired, and his fighting technique is very good, he's always calm, I never see he's aggressive, and he always respect your opinion, and he respect rules rules and what people are saying, what people are not saying, he doesn't care, he just care about his training, and he's a fight, right? And he's a very great person, when I saw his interview, he's speaking very nicely, very calm and very nice, and very such a good human being, and I'm very inspired with him. He's always very nice with his opinion, he never said anything bad for anyone, and he came from very hard family, and he did very hard work, so I'm very inspired with him. Yeah.
So, do you see him winning a fight against Tyson Fury? Like, if the unification bout happens, do you think Anthony Joshua is going to be the unified, absolute best heavyweight in the world?
Yes, of course he will. Yes.
What's your take on this, Mr. Param? Like, do you see the same happening? Like, do you agree with Tenzin, or do you see Tyson Fury having the advantage?
I mean, it's definitely a 50-50 fight. I think people underestimate Anthony Joshua's boxing skills, but you don't become an Olympic champion, two-time unified world heavyweight champion if you can't box. Some boxers strive to even get even a national title, a European. So to be at his level, whereas you look at Tyson Fury's been boxing since he was a kid. He's naturally gifted, so it's an interesting fight. Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 fight, but I like Josh, just like Tenzin. I know both of them. I've had dealings with them as such. They've got a good team, background team, working with them. And I just like Josh's more humble style, down to earth. He trains all the time. He's hardly ever out of the gym. He doesn't trash talk. We had the same thing when we were seeing potential unification between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. My understanding is him and his promoter Eddie Hearn, who I respect. For me, Eddie's my benchmark. Same as Tenzin's looking at Josh, I look at somebody like Eddie, who's a friend, but he's also, for me, he's the biggest promoter out there. Again, Wilder done a lot of talking, a lot of trash talk, and the fight never came off. And I'm seeing reports now that, looks like this unification or undisputed fight has been made for 14th of August in Saudi Arabia. So I'm very, very happy that it's coming to fruition.
Yeah.
I just think that right now, if you look at them, I've been watching Tyson for a couple of weeks now, and it just looks like, I don't know whether it's an act or he looks like he's doing a lot of talking, but he looks like he's slipping somewhat on the training side as well. He's enjoying himself a bit too much, which, he can do. But I just like the fact that Josh is always in the gym. He doesn't talk. He talks when he needs to, but he leaves most of his talking in the gym or in the actual fight. So I'm going to go 50-50, but leaning slightly towards Anthony Joshua.
So coming back to Tenzin, like we already know it has been a hard time for the entire country, for the entire continent, Asia. Like we all are dealing with COVID-19. So lastly, if you want to say something to your fans about your event, about your boxing career, or about the COVID-19 situation, please.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. If we can say like, okay, we player are very suffering and we have no training, we not doing anything, and we are just frustrating for our training and all these things. Many people are losing their own fight techniques and trainings. If I say like that, things it's unfair for our nations, right? Because this time, people are so much suffering, so much suffering. People are losing their own family members. I think this is a very hard thing, and I just want to pray for God. Everything will be fine and soon. But I can't say like, okay, people are died, they can come back, and it's like a miracle, right? Yeah. So I'm just forgetting for my training, my fighting things. We are fighter, we can fight anytime, anywhere, right? So if we have a good training, if we are focusing, if we are, doing for our like a discipline, if we are falling for discipline, we can fight anytime, right? So I think now this time I just want to talk about my, our nations. People are so much, a nation, not a nation, but the entire the world. People are so much suffering. So I think this is a big thing for these days. I don't have any comments for our upcoming fight, and we are struggling in all this things. This is unfair, right? So I just want to pray for God for the world. Everything will find, and we can stay again, we can enjoy again, we can do training again, we can sit again with friends and families, right? So yeah, and I just want to say one thing for everyone, not men, not women, everyone. I just want to say be safe in home, and do exercise, continue. If you don't know exercise, you can just walk with yourself, but you can just engage yourself, for your lungs, and do it whatever you are exercise comfortable. And please take care for your neighbors also, and take care of your helpers. Helpers are very special, because they are helping so many things, because they don't care about their life, just caring for people, right? So just respect for them. And I just want to say boxers and entire martial arts players, I just want to say, just be safe and keep discipline yourself, and don't lose your hope. Everything will all right. Everything happened with on the reason. Without reason, nothing will happen. And every day is learning. You have to learn every day, and you have to focus everything, and when you have a discipline and respect for your parents, for your societies, for your friends and colleagues, so everything will all right. And I just want to say, young kids, just focus your study, without study, without education, you will not achieve anything. If you are going to be in the future with a good boxer, if you can apply for work, if you don't have any degrees, and nobody can be give you an work, right?
Yeah.
So you can't apply for job, right? If you have a good study, you're doing study with training also, you can manage, because its management is all about disciplines, right? And respect your parents. Parents will never give you wrong advices. Parents are always your best friend. Share with your problems with your parents, and just believe yourself and love yourself, and don't lose your hope. Everything will all right. And I will like to say, Mr. Param, thank you so much for giving us so good things, and
Welcome.
I feel very proud, because I was fighting in that time, and you saw there, and I just said to my gym trainer, I just said, I want to be fight, and he just he makes for fight for me, and I just want to say to thank you for him also. And I would like to thank you, Raj, and you are doing so great job, and you will be one day, you are very big person and big media launch, and your dream will come true, and you are doing so good, and you are writing very good, especially I saw last articles about boxing, WBC India Championship, right? You write very well, and I feel very proud when people are working with on not only for mind, with your heart. When you include your heart, and you're such a of you are so like you like martial arts and martial arts boxers, MMA players, right? So that's why you have a good heart. You can understand them feelings. So you write so well, and thank you so much for helping for us, and keep always help, not for only for us, everyone's.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining with us, Mr. Param, Tenzin. I hope we will reconnect soon, and till then, stay safe.
Definitely.
Stay well. Absolutely.
Yeah, you too. Good job, Raj,
Sure.
and good to see you, Tenzin. Take care. God bless.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you.